Hello everyone, it's good to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor Ayo, and in today's tutorial, it's going to be a continuation of the course EDU233, and basically, I think just one more class of the course will be done with the familiarization stage of the course. Okay, um, with this being said, we should can go straight into tonight's class. Okay. So tonight we're taking our bearing from what is called discipline. Okay, let's not forget it's all about teaching method, and we're taking our bearing from what is called discipline today, what it means and how it's used in the educational system. Okay, so we have just a moment. Okay, I think it's better this way. Okay, so now when we say discipline, what does it mean and how is it being used in the educational system? Okay, just a moment, just trying to adjust that very quickly. Perhaps you might be wondering the change of setting and everything, like I made mention earlier this week in the message I sent to the private class about my transit at the moment, and hopefully by next week everything should be turned back to normal. Okay, now when we say discipline, what are we talking about? Let's look at the etymology of the word discipline. What is the origin of the word discipline? Now, the word discipline is derived from a Latin word called discere. All right, and this discere means to learn. Okay, now there is a close connection between discere and disciples. Disciples now means discipline, disciple. All right, discere, discere, okay, which means, okay, to learn, and disciples, which means disciples. There is a close link between these two words. Okay, disciple now means to learn from a master. All right, now disciple also means training, learning, or living under the rule of compulsion. That's according to Soper, Souper, Soper 1976. Now, the word may therefore be regarded, discipline may be regarded in the context of what Soper said. Don't forget, Soper said discipline also means training, learning, or living under the rule of compulsion. Alright? Now, the word may therefore be regarded in the context of Soper's definition as a willing, alright, as a willing submission that is willing to an authority for the purpose of learning something worthwhile. All right, now as an extension of this meaning, subject areas are also regarded as discipline. All right, subject areas, specializations are also regarded as discipline because learners subject themselves to what we call structural processes in the chosen field. All right, definitely, like in the Department of Business Administration, okay, you have to do the you have to pay your dues and go through your courses, your major courses, your elective, all courses pointing to the success of, all right, everything you need to learn in that department. Then you can call that structured processes. All right, just like we have the Department of Accounting, even though it's all faculty of management, Department of Accounting, the discipline, the subject matters, all right, the topic sentence, the subject matters or subject areas are quite different, although they have similar courses, but they are quite different. So all these put together are also seen as what we call structural processes, and each of these departments have what they study that makes it peculiar to their department. All right. Now, as an extension of this meaning, like I said, subject areas are also regarded as discipline. As a matter of fact, learners subject themselves to what we call structural processes in their chosen field. Now you need to understand that frequently many people, all right, especially a layman, will use the term, all right, mean to use force to ensure that commands are carried out. All right, basically a lot of persons see discipline, and a layman sees discipline as using force, all right, that an instruction might be carried out, but it is beyond that. Okay, the use of force to ensure I will discipline you. Use of force to ensure that an instruction is being done. Discipline is way beyond, all right, is way beyond that. Hence, this meaning equate discipline with punishment. All right, the force of ensuring the use of force that an individual or a group of persons should carry out an instruction. This mentality, all right, equate discipline with punishment. Okay, now we have that as that. Now, according to Akínbóyè in 1981, Akínbóyè defines discipline as a strategy. This strategy is used for training the child in the art of self-management. The strategy involved, the strategy used to train a child in the act of self-management is seen as discipline, according to Akínbóyè. Okay, now in this case, discipline can be regarded as a process involving external persons, all right, or agents. Okay, now don't forget, Akínbóyè said that discipline is a strategy of training the child in the art of what? Achieving self-management. In order to do this, discipline is regarded as a process that involves external persons or agents to ensure this self-management. Now let's look at some points. We have externally imposed discipline versus self-imposed discipline. There's what we call externally imposed, meaning that elements or circumstances without a person from the outside, like agents, all right, from the outside, helps to instill discipline. While self-discipline is discipline that one has subjected himself to willingly, all right, just to ensure that some certain results are achieved. Okay, now the external discipline consists of the influence that comes upon us from our parents, teachers, and peer groups. Okay, external discipline consists of the influence, every influence that comes upon us from our parents, our teachers, and our peer, and our peer groups. These are referred to as the external discipline. Okay, now they require us to be obedient, to be punctual, and to attend to our lesson regularly. Okay, these are the agents around us that instills discipline. All right, they can punish us and compel us to have properly. All right, they can punish and compel us to behave properly when we misbehave. Okay, now internal discipline, as we have made mention of, we said external and internal. Now the internal discipline now, or self-discipline, is a control we exercise over ourselves. Like I said, the control we exercise over ourselves. Say, no, I want to discipline myself against eating late at night, against not going to the gym, against using my phone, against watching movie late night. I want to discipline myself. These are the discipline we instill, all right, upon ourselves just to achieve certain results. Okay, now it comes from within. That is the self-discipline. It comes from within. We exercise self-discipline when we control our temper, and when we can do it, right, do right things without being told. Right, when you can do the right thing without being told, and when you can control your temper, then you are doing the internal discipline. All right, good discipline is always self-control. All right, good discipline is always self-control. Please take that point. Good discipline is always self-control. Now we have that as that. Now, in the classroom, discipline may be measured by the extent to which the pupils are self-controlled. In the classroom, discipline may be measured by the extent to which the pupils are self-controlled and willingly apply themselves to tasks assignment by the teachers. Now let's get this straight. In the classroom, discipline may be measured by what? By the extent to which the pupils are self-controlled. Don't forget, we said good discipline is always self-control. All right, for you to achieve discipline, then the obvious result becomes you having the power, or you having, all right, successfully denied yourself in doing something, and you don't feel pain, and you don't feel you don't struggle. Okay, self-control is tantamount to good discipline, and that's what it's all about. Okay, now as it says that in the classroom, discipline may be measured by the extent to which the pupils are self-controlled and are willing to apply themselves to instructions that their teacher has given them, whether he's there or she's there, or he's not there or she's not there. All right, carry out instruction with little or no guide, all right, or supervision, and that is it. Now, according to Burton in 1963, he made mention of 5 forms of discipline that can be considered. Right? 5 forms of discipline that we can consider. We have the likes of laissez-faire or permissive discipline, authoritarian discipline, democratic discipline, behavior modification, and socio-emotional climate discipline. Now let's take this one step at a time. Now we have the laissez. Laissez here is simply spelled L-A-I-S-S-E-Z, all right, then a dash, then F-A-I-R-E, right? Laissez-faire or permissive discipline. This type of discipline refers to absence of any degree of imposition or external standard or control on individual conduct. This is the kind of discipline that there is no, all right, there's nothing like I am imposing or I'm insisting imposition, nothing like that. Nothing like being insistent from external standard, right? Nothing is coming from the outside world to instill or impose or put on you by force, all right, any control or individual conduct. Here, the learner is left to develop on his own. This is the kind of discipline that learners, the kind of training that learners are left to learn on their own. Now, a teacher who chooses this kind of discipline may lack confidence in himself. All right, it's all about the classroom, and as a teacher, you are supposed to be there and make your input as you train, as you educate your people. Okay, but if you are a teacher that permits this kind of discipline strategy, that means you are not confident in yourself, as the material has said. Right? So we have the authoritarian, okay, the authoritarian discipline. This is the kind of discipline, all right, that is opposite to permissive. The discipline is, all right, the discipline of this nature is rigid. All right, it's rigid. That's the opposite of flexibility. It's excessive. It's arbitrary and autocratic. This is when you are when something is imposed, instilled upon you. You must do this. If you don't do this, you get this result. If you don't do this, you get this punishment. All right. When something is being instilled, is being forced upon you until you do the right thing. All right. That's why I said this is the opposite of the permissive discipline. All right. The teacher who employs this kind of discipline will not want criticism. So any teacher that is trying to avoid but we put you in charge of this children and this children are still misbehaving. Why? Teachers like that doesn't want criticism, they will ensure, they will impose that you must behave yourself, You must coordinate yourself, because such teachers do not want to be criticized, all right, either by superior authority or by colleagues. Okay, then we have the democratic kind of discipline. The democratic approach is one that employs explanation, discussion, and reasoning to help students understand how to develop, control their behavior. All right, to develop, control their behavior. Okay, this is the democratic kind of approach that involves interaction, dialogue, explanation, all right, and reasoning, the sharing of knowledge, exchange of thoughts, all right, and that by between teacher and students, that students might understand how to develop and control their behaviors. Okay, now while they are expected to behave in certain ways, the emphasis here is the education aspect instead of the all right, punitive aspect of discipline. Okay, so basically here teachers are supposed to encourage, all right, like have a good rapport with the student and help them be better at who they are. All right, now better version of themselves. So now we have something called punishment. All right, punishment is used by reward. All right, punishment can be used, okay, but reward is stressed more than punishment. Now there's something called punishment and reward which we need to understand. All right, these are things that encourages and deters behavior. All right, punishment and reward are very good elements in what we call self-control or behavior or character building. Okay, reward, now we'll get to know what reward does, I will get to know what punishment does. Okay, but what you need to understand that reward is stressed more than punishment in character building or discipline or training or what have you. Stressed more is reward and less stressed is punishment. Now the key to a democratic approach is the regular, all right, and frank group discussion, like what we said. Okay, dialogue, interaction, and the likes. So we have teachers utilizing this approach, acting the role of leaders, guide the class, all right, discussion that focus on problem. You see on democracy, how discuss, interact, and have a good rapport with the student, that they can become better person and they can understand subject matter. All right, 3 products of that process have been identified. Okay, now still on democracy kind of approach, the teacher and the student have opportunity to express themselves in a way on the issue to be heard. All right, expression, like I said, good rapport. The teacher and the student have the opportunity to know and understand one another better. This is very attainable when you engage in dialogue, discussion with students. Okay, a lot of things will be reviewed, and that's something we do in our Telegram class. You find out that a lot of things, ideas, inspirations, and different angles to seeing things are reviewed in this class, because now it's discussion and they are sharing knowledge based on what we have learned before. Now the teacher and the students are provided with an opportunity to help one another. Okay, all that is about the democratic approach to what we call the behavior modification of discipline. All right, so now let's talk about behavior modification. Discipline is always concerned with regulating or changing behavior. We have been talking about training, all right, we're talking about discipline. Now specifically about behavior, all right, modification. Okay, definitely the reason why we train is to improve ourselves, is to improve what we are doing, which is behavior modification still. All right, but now let's take it from this angle. The discipline is always concerned with regulating or changing behavior. Okay, that is to say that the change can be brought about through the use of external stimuli, or it can result from individuals' own purposive behavior. Speaking of behavior modification now, this is to say that change can be brought about through the use of external stimuli, or it can result from individual's own purposive behavior. All right, speaking of change now, behavior modification depends. Okay, behavior modification depends on what is called external stimuli to effect the desired change in behavior. Now, according to what we have been told here, behavior modification is particular. All right, behavior modification is particular about external stimulus that helps instill improved character, all right, or modification of behavior. Now, let's continue. Now, for these reasons, teachers should master and apply 4 basic principles, all right, in this behavior modification. We have positive reinforcement, we have punishment, we have extinction, and negative reinforcement. Now, when we say, like I said the other time about reward and punishment, now we get to understand better. The introduction of reward is called positive reinforcement. When you say positive reinforcement, you're talking about reward, okay? And introduction of punishment simply called punishment, all right? The introduction of punishment is called punishment. The introduction of reward is called positive reinforcement. Now, the removal of reward is either called extinction. When you remove reward, somebody you have been given reward and you just already remove reward as a result of character, all right, is called extinction or timeout. Now, the removal of punishment is called negative reinforcement. When punishment is being removed, it's called negative reinforcement. When punishment is being used, it's called punishment. Okay, positive reinforcement, the introduction of reward after behavior causes the reinforced behavior to increase its frequency. Now, when a certain behavior is being done and you introduce what is called positive reinforcement, what you are simply telling that behavior is keep up the good job, and you have increased the frequency of the occurrence of such behavior. But when a particular behavior is being done and you introduce the negative, right, the negative reinforcement, okay, now look at it here. It says reward behavior is thus strengthened and is repeated again in the future when you introduce what we call positive reinforcement after a particular behavior. Okay, you are encouraging that particular behavior is strengthened and it will repeat itself in the future. Now, but when it comes to punishment, punishment is the introduction of an undesirable stimulus, all right, after a behavior and causes the behavior to decrease its frequency. So now, if a behavior is being exhibited and you want to decrease the number of frequency, or you want to decrease its level of frequency, then you introduce what we call punishment. All right, punishment automatically will reduce the number of frequency that such a behavior will occur in the nearest future. All right, punished behavior tends to discontinue. Okay, that's what it does. It discontinues certain behavior. Now, extinction is the withholding of an anticipated reward. Okay, so when they have been given reward as a reason of a particular behavior, okay, and the behavior then comes up again, and unfortunately this time it was withheld. This is called extinction. All right. Now, extinction is the withholding of an anticipated reward, the withholding of positive reinforcement in an instance where that behavior was previously rewarded. Now, extinction results in the decrease of, all right, frequency. Extinction results in the decreased frequency of previously rewarded behavior. Okay. Now, negative reinforcement is the removal of an undesirable stimuli after a behavior is, all right, and it causes frequency of the behavior to be increased. Okay. Now, listen to this. Negative reinforcement is the removal of an undesirable or obsessive stimuli. When you remove punishment, negative reinforcement, somebody did something that is bad, something to punish the person. Are we together? You now did otherwise. This will cause the frequency of such behavior to increase. Something that somebody has been doing before and you have been punishing the person, The person does it and you do not punish him. You're only telling him that keep up the good job. Are we getting all these terminologies? Now, the removal of punishment serves to strengthen the behavior and increases its tendency to be repeated. Okay, so lastly, for today's class, we have social emotional climate. The roots of this approach stem from counseling and from clinical psychology, which places great importance on interpersonal relationship. That is the social emotional climate. Okay, it is derived from counseling and from clinical psychology, and it places so much importance on interpersonal, all right, relationship between one or two person. Okay, so on this note, I think we'll call it a wrap for today, and in our next class we'll call it a wrap on the course itself. Please do well to keep your notes updated and send them to the private class, and I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorial. Do have a wonderful evening.